Welcome to our Wednesday Wisdom Circle on, I can't believe it's July 30th. Like, where is the summer going already? Holy cow. It's crazy to me how fast it's going. And what a beautiful summer it's been. No smoke, uh, cool days, warm days. It's just been extraordinary. I'm so grateful for that. This morning's circle, as always, is sort of based on the things that I have been confronting or examining or becoming aware of in my life. And I've had some deep conversations with some beautiful friends recently about desire and the things that our hearts desire, impulses and inklings to, follow a certain path or meet a certain person or do a certain project or just take time for ourselves. And what I have really kind of noticed recently and had conversations about is that desire, especially for women, gets a bad rap. We're taught to be suspicious of it. We're taught to suppress it or to transcend it altogether because it's ego and you should do the right thing. And especially in spiritual and wellness circles, desire is sometimes mistaken for ego or seen as something to overcome. But think about it. Desire is what's created all art in the world, all beautiful things. Like, what does a painting contribute to, survival? Nothing, but it contributes beauty and joy to the world. And it was someone's desire to bring that forth. We wouldn't have the great works of art in the Sistine Chapel, for instance, if it wasn't for Michelangelo's desire to bring forth something. And I've been thinking about, like, what if your deepest desires weren't distractions, but directions? What if they're actually breadcrumbs, like sacred signals guiding you back to what's real and true and fully alive in you? You know, we have longing and desire and all of that. And I think that when it comes up and we have resistance to it, there's an opportunity to heal, to look at what is the shame or the judgment or whatever that is there that's preventing me from following that desire. Because it's the one thing that distinguishes us from the animal kingdom. Animals run on instinct and survival, and we have the opportunity, we have the higher faculties to ponder our desires and to bring them forth. Um, so in yoga and tantric wisdom, there's desire is actually part of the teaching. So first we have dharma, which is purpose, and then we have artha, which means to thrive. So when we identify our purpose, then we're meant to thrive in that purpose. And how we thrive in that purpose is through kama, which means desire, pleasure, and love. And then the final piece of that is moksha, which is liberation. So if we're not living in our desires, then we're never going to be free. We have the freedom to explore desires. That is freedom. So kama, or desire, isn't separate from spiritual growth. It's actually one of its pillars. And when you're aligned with your dharma, your truth, your purpose, desire becomes the sacred pull that moves you towards enlivening your soul, which is actually where freedom lives. In Tantra, the tantric tradition of yoga, desire is not the enemy, it's actually the path. They use desire, including sexual desire, but all desire, as an invitation to presence and embodiment and truth. And rather than suppress desire in the tantric tradition, we honor it, we choose it, and we engage in it consciously. Now, there's a key distinction that I want to mention, which is desire versus craving. Okay. Now, this is something I've been grappling with, and sometimes I'm in between the two, and it's sometimes hard to pull apart. But I'm really working to follow my desires and not be led by just cravings, because craving comes from lack. It says I'm not whole until I get this. Have you ever craved a chocolate bar or a salty snack and then you ate it and you're like, shit? But like desire, the desire to just taste something sweet and you really enjoy it, it's very different. So desire arises from fullness and it says, I'm ready to expand into more of myself. And I think sometimes desire starts with craving. And then when we sit with it and examine it and affirm our wholeness, it's transformed into, I'm ready to expand myself in some way. Craving contracts and desire expands. That's how we know the difference. Okay. So, um, gosh, I've been grappling with so much of this stuff in my personal life and trying to sort out, is it right for me? Like, there's all this advice coming at me about you should be alone and you should just learn to be alone and you should learn to love yourself and you should, feel whole within yourself and all that. I'm like, yeah, great. And I desire to be with people and like, and I desire to be comforted sometimes. And I desire to be able to reflect with other human beings. And then there's this fine line where sometimes that comes from lack. And then there's sometimes when it's like, oh, I'm actually expanding myself. I think that the best that we can do is to be conscious of it and call it what it is. If it's craving, have compassion for that. Sit with it until the craving kind of passes and it becomes like, actually, I want to expand myself. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Okay, good. I'm getting some nods. Okay. Um, but letting desire lead doesn't mean chasing or grasping. It means listening and trusting, allowing desire to show up when you're ready to be more you. So, this is almost an embarrassing story, but I've shared it with some friends, but I'm like, I was told that I shouldn't get into a relationship so soon. And, well, it's just going to be a rebound and it's this and that. And I actually said to some of my friends, I am fully aware that I am clinging onto this man like a life raft. And it's like floating in the ocean, fully aware of it. And and it's okay. Like it's okay. I'm going to let myself kind of follow that desire. And I have some beautiful friends who have reflected back to me like, when did we stop being able to honor our desires? When did we think it's selfish? When did we stop saying like, or when did we start saying, I have to do the right thing to make sure everybody else knows I'm doing the right thing instead of just following our heart sometimes? You know, it's okay to want things. So I like to think of desire as the inner compass. And if you imagine it as it's like it doesn't give you a GPS route. It's not like that. It's old fashioned, like a compass. Like you remember the ones you hold in your hand and you stand and look for true north? But it'll point you towards your aliveness. So there might be some bumps and some messes along the way, and that's all learning. But if you follow your desire, it's a compass to your aliveness. So if you feel sparked or called in some direction to make art, to make friends, to be in a romance, to build something, like spend some time with your desire and stoke that little fire. And ask yourself, like, what's the energy beneath this desire? What's the truth it wants me to honor? So some questions that I kind of came up with around like thinking about how to get to the bottom of where we've been suppressing desires, whether something's craving or desire. I am always journaling on things. I'm always in inquiry. So I thought like a good question to ask is, what desire have I been minimizing, judging, or suppressing? Now, what's interesting is when you're judging a desire, you have judgment for other people that have that thing or are living that way. And that alone will prevent you from ever having it. If you judge someone who has more money than you will never have more money than that person because you don't want to be judged. If you judge someone for being madly in love, you probably won't let yourself go there because you don't want to be judged. So it's really helpful to look at what desire have I been minimizing and judging. And then if I knew that desire itself isn't dangerous, what would I let myself want? Like peace, rapture, you know, unbridled belly laugh. Like, what would you let yourself want? Would you let yourself want like great wealth or, um, you know, like free time? Would you let yourself want to dance more or to paint or whatever? And then once you've identified any kind of desire, it's like, what is it pointing me toward? And who am I becoming? And in my reflection, I've been like, it's pointing me towards truth, like and wholeness. Like the part, like my desire is leading me away from all the carefully constructed parts of myself that were glued together as a child and leading me towards truth and becoming all of myself. And then it's really important that we go from the concept to creation. And so it's like, where in my body do I feel desire? And what happens when I breathe into that place, when I stoke that fire? Now, this is the very interesting question or part, and that is, how can I follow desire without attachment to outcome? That little bit is the spiritual practice. Can I follow my desire without attachment to outcome? If I have an attachment to outcome, my desire is likely going to lead me to disappointment all the time. But if I follow desire for the sake of following it, honoring my truth, learning, growing, expanding into more of myself, whatever the outcome is, it's beautiful. And I'm super grateful that I followed my desire and dated a hot cowboy and was and had like and built a beautiful friendship, and now we've decided to just be friends. And if I knew that, I might have protected my heart and not done it. And I'm so effing grateful that I did, because it was beautiful and expanding, and I made an amazing friend, and I reflected so much about myself and helped heal him, and he helped heal me. And like, if I was doing all the right things that people advised me to do, none of that would be possible. And I'm so grateful for this beauty that I was able to bring in my life. And there's pain and it's difficult, and I wouldn't miss any of it. I don't want to walk with a fearful heart in my life. Some might call my heart a little reckless, but I'd rather have a little reckless heart than a fearful one. So I invite you this morning to just think about your desires, and maybe even a further inquiry around this is like, what have I been taught that desire is? Leanne and I have been talking a little bit about these kinds of things. And it's like, we've been conditioned sometimes that desire is selfish. It's only for people who, don't have anything better to do. And to really like confront those beliefs about desire. And then maybe through the confrontation of them, you have the ability to transform them. But I would invite you all today, we'll get ready for meditation here, but just to think about something that you desire and just to do that thing just because you desire it. You don't need any other reason, just to follow that little inkling in your heart. So let's meditate. Let's take a meditation this morning. Isn't my mug funny? I'm sorry you guys close your eyes, but my daughter-in-law bought this for me. It says, "But did you die?" Because she said that was my parenting strategy. I was like, yeah. I was like with my kids, well, you didn't die, you're fine. Okay. All right. Close your eyes. Take a big deep breath in through your nose. Sigh it out through your mouth. And do that again. Inhale fully right up to the crown of your head. Hold it at the top. And then exhale through your mouth, audible sigh. Once more, fill up as much air as you can take in. And when you get to the top, take in 2 more sips of air. And then let it all go. Now just start to feel your physical body completely supported beneath you. Notice the touch points of your body on the seat or the floor or whatever you're sitting on. Notice any sensations on your skin, the air, your clothing, anything that you feel. Now notice what you hear, the sound of my voice, perhaps a fan in your room or sounds from outside. Now notice what you see behind your eyelids. Bring your attention to your sense of smell. What do you smell in the room around you? And then what did you taste? What do you taste? Taste toothpaste, coffee. And stack all of your senses on top of each other. Notice what you feel, what you hear, what you see, what you smell, and what you taste, all happening in the now, fully alive. And then let your breath draw you into this moment. There's nothing to do, nothing to prove. Just be. Now gently draw your attention to the center of your chest, the heart space, the seat of longing, of love, of desire. Now imagine there's a small golden flame in your heart. And this flame represents your purest desire, your longing to be alive, to connect, to express, to receive, and to love. With each inhale, with each breath, see that flame at the center of your heart growing warmer, not in urgency, but in clarity. Let it grow, let it glow, and let it speak. Ask silently, what do you long for? Don't force it, just listen. Maybe an image appears, maybe a feeling, maybe a word. Let it come and let it be witnessed. Now ask yourself, what does this desire want me to remember about myself? What does this desire want me to remember about myself? Now place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And breathe into the space between your hands. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel your belly rise and fall. And then whisper silently, I honor my desire. I trust its wisdom. It's safe to want. Take a few more deep breaths, just letting this truth settle into your cells. And let your hands come back into your lap. Take a full deep breath in. And as you breathe out through your mouth, imagine sending that golden light from your heart, your desire, out into the world. Let that golden light sparkle all around you. And then take one more deep breath in through your nose. And it out through your mouth. And let your eyes flutter open. I am so happy and grateful to have been born with a little bit of a rebellious heart. Led by my desires, sometimes into places I maybe shouldn't have been, but I've had a very colorful, rich life that has led me to do this kind of work and be introspective and reflective, and I wouldn't trade any of it. And so, my encouragement to all of you today is to start to think about your desire as something sacred and lovely and a compass towards feeling more alive rather than something to stifle or be ashamed of. And I'm so grateful to have this community to share that with. Is there anyone who would like to share about this teaching this morning or offer gratitude in the space?